Okay, so I don't know if anyone's seen our robot yet, but the key thing behind a robot, when it came to the odometry lab, we have to do all these encoders and all that business. There you go. So our key problem, so we're coming around to odometry, and some of the various suggestions presented were, you strap these little pieces of paper on the wheels, and you have an encoder and have your own separate thing and all this. This seemed all really redundant when a mouse is basically an odometry device. You move it, you have an X and Y position, and so on and so forth. So looking at the device, you're immediately like, yeah, that's an excellent, sure, right here, why do I have to worry about it? But the problem is that, they come in PS2 and they come in USB. I don't know if you guys ever looked at the USB standard, but it's monstrous. Like, just no point. Like, game over, you look at it, it's like, it'll take us a week. They probably have a team a week just to deal with that. So we came around and...
If you did it in a week, I'd be impressed.
There we go.
6 months or something.
Yeah, it probably takes that long just to... There we go, done. So, PS2, awesome. It's very analog-ish. It's something you could feel that you could just plug it into the board or whatever. So we looked at the specs, and the curious thing about the PS2 specs is that the manual is lost. It's out of print. No one has it on the internet. And the one reference point you have is this university students, some university down in the States. We have this homepage from 1998 that actually has a copy of the spec. So basically, I think this one's VCC, this one's data, this one's clock, or whatever. So you just plug it into the board, and actually, according to the spec, this one's reserved. Who knows what for? It's just one of those, we have all these extra pins and all that. So if you think about a mouse, it seems like it would be very straightforward. It's very, operation, you shouldn't have to think about it. But mice are slightly more complicated than you would originally think. Because our initial impression was that, it's a mouse, you don't think about it. It should just be constantly outputting X and Y positions. Or a very simplistic form of this. So we had two kind of main problems. And first is just getting it to recognize with the mouse, just talking to it, because I'm not really a hardware guy, and I can tell you all about, I'm more of a web guy, and that's kind of what I do in a day-to-day, so this is completely out of left field. I had no idea what the hell is going on. So you have to power the clock pin and send it, you can only send data when the wave is down, something along those lines. So you have to build a sort of packet object just for talking to the mouse, because you have to send it 9 bits at a time, and have to be a bit parity, and you have to do all these complications. So we spent a really long time just figuring out if we were sending it correctly to the mouse or not. And a second main problem is just that you actually have to initialize mice. This is something that I had no idea. You actually have to send it a byte, just say start. You send another byte for it to figure out the scaling, how much. It has a scaling setting. You give it another byte telling it how many dots per whatever. And the settings are 10, 20, 40, up to 200. So then you send that byte, and you send another acknowledgement byte before it'll actually start, and you can read packets from the mouse. So we just had this large confusion to get to that stage. And basically at that stage, it works really fine. We had no idea that it's got a small processor on it for actually computing all this. You can ask all sorts of things from your mouse. But yeah, you get to that stage, and you can just swap stuff out of it. Interestingly, it will only report the distance it was from the last time you pulled it. So at every frame, it's only the distance it has been from the last time. So after that stage, it's pretty straightforward. You just go, you have a buffer that accumulates, and you watch out for overflows or whatever, and you're good to go, and you're on notes for that. Well, that's dead. In a nutshell, that's most of the complexities of dealing with the mouse. Jimmy actually had a really great idea. After the fact, after we got this working, I went up to Jim and I go, hey, how the hell would we... I saw him had a bunch of mice lying around. So one thing you could have actually done is crack it open. and attach it directly to the resistor that's measuring the encoder. And I haven't actually looked at how it does with the optical mice, except that's probably something different. But like you can literally see the little wheels turning and encoding every single thing on the actual mouse. So that would have been probably been fraught with its own kinds of mysteries and difficulties in getting it to talk to, but you would have completely skipped about a quarter of our time dealing with just this. So mice as odometers work surprisingly well. I think we just had our robot demo. Which is our robot demo just based off that, and it could actually accurately go back and forth to one of that, because I think Steve was talking about, if you think about it, you have to move just a fraction of an inch and you'll be able to tell all these distances on your screen. So yeah, it's actually a very good device. It saved us a lot of construction time. And that's the gist of it.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you.